GTDfaster, the faster way of getting things done. Hope you enjoy that one. Alright, just like any other app on your iPhone, once you've installed it, you'll see the icon. So here we've got GTDfaster, and just click on it. It launches the application, and the first time you launch the application, you're not going to have any stuff collected. When I refer to stuff, I'm talking about basically anything you have allowed into your psychological or physical world that doesn't belong to where it is, but for which you haven't yet determined the desired outcome and the next action step. Now, what I just read to you was from David Allen's book on GTD, so getting things done. That's where the word GTD comes from. It is a process of of organizing your life and everything around you, anything that comes into your mind, of basically moving things out of your mind and into a trusted source. So the trusted source in this example here is GTDfaster. It's a faster way of getting things done. Hence the name, hence the slogan. Alright, so coming back to the app. Now, we've got nothing here collected yet, and the idea is that as you're walking around, or as you're just living life, and ideas will flow into your mind, things to do flow into your mind, anything that comes into your mind, you want to be able to collect it again into a trusted source and leave it for processing later on. You don't want to be writing sticky notes or sending yourself emails or putting notes which get lost with time. You want to have one source, one tool to be able to collect everything, and then later on come back and be able to process, so do something with it. So let's take a typical example of a day. In the morning you might go for a walk and an idea will pop into your mind. Let's call it will be a business idea that'll pop into your mind. So you start the application, you click on the collect button, and you use the keyboard here and just type in, you just had an idea, create an iPhone app for education purpose. Alright, and then click on done, and you continue on. You might arrive to work and you'll have another idea. Then you're gonna go, oh yeah, there's this great blog that I'm writing, the road to SiliconValley.com, and I haven't written anything about taxation. What is it like? How taxation works in the USA. You've had a friend ask you yesterday something about it, and you might as well just log it down. Alright, so it's 2 things collected. As the day goes on, you might write more stuff. So, stuff about the E3 visa, how it works for Aussies in Silicon Valley, etc. Collected. As you're talking to your friends throughout the day, one of your friends might mention a great movie, Super 8. It's one of those Steven Spielberg movie. Also, J.J. Abrams produced the movie. You want to write it down. You want to watch it. Everyone's talking about it. Bang, collected. So as you can see, we've got 4 things so far collected. And as the day goes on, you might have more things. Let's say you got to pick up dinner. Okay. All right. So this is the idea. You're collecting stuff, and there's a bunch of stuff collected. Now, what you'll see is you've used your mobile phone here to collect this stuff. Next versions of the app will allow you to collect stuff through other channels like email. There'll be a website. There will be also an Android app, the iPad, so forth. But let's just focus on this application for now. And it also shows you what time you've collected all your stuff. It's just general tagging. Now, let's just jump back out. What you're going to see here is 5. So there's 5 things that need to be processed. So say, at the end of the day, you're walking back home, and you've got a 15-minute walk, so you want to kill some time. Even before that, let's just say you're about to leave work and you open up your app and you go, oh yeah, there's a bunch of stuff I got to do. There's a bunch of stuff that I've collected. So let's look at processing this information. Now, if you're finding, this is where the GTD method comes into it. If you're finding that you need information around how to process bucket, you can click on this information icon here, and it all explains here. So, what we've done here, step 1 was collect stuff that catches your attention. So anything from, notes to ideas to what people told us. Now the next step is we want to process what's in this bucket. So the idea is to gain control over these collected materials. We need to be able to empty this process bucket here and just categorize things a bit, so it makes more sense. Now, what do? Before we get down to processing, which is a very simple, step-by-step process, what we're going to do is we're just going to jump back to the bucket section. And what you're going to see here, you're going to see a bunch of buckets. All of these are preset. The only ones you have control over are the projects. You can create them. See, there's nothing here, and there's that rocket again telling us, hey, press the add bucket. Press the add button. Next actions is basically if you've collected something that needs some form of action, like something that you're going to do next, then that's where all your stuff will go into. Waiting for is if you're waiting for someone to get back to you, say Jane needs to get back to you regarding some information that you told her, or someone needs to contact you regarding that car you inquired about. So that's where stuff will go into that. Someday, obviously the name explains that one. In the future, references, that could be anything from a great wine that you've heard about, you wanted, or a great wine that you know of that you always want to come back to it. And if you need to get the name of it, you drop it into references. Very self-explanatory. So, a couple of things, we've collected a bunch of things along the way, and what we haven't done is we haven't created our own little buckets. So I'll just jump into projects and I'll create a bucket. I'm going to call it business ideas. Another one I'm going to call blog, and I'm going to create another one called movies to watch. Okay, three nice custom buckets. So let's just jump back. I'm about to process all of this. Pick up dinner for wife and me, get fed. That's definitely something that would go into next actions. Now, you can process this bucket 2 ways. So let's just quickly jump back to information. What you're going to see is processing a bucket. You start at the top, deal with one item at a time. Never put anything back into where you first collected it. And if an item requires action, you either do it. So if it takes less than 2 minutes, just do it, get it out of the way. You don't need to be a hoarder and collect a lot of information. The idea behind GTD is that, as I mentioned earlier, you collect stuff, you put it in, you do something with it, and then you're done and dusted and move it off. This is not a tool for collecting stuff. This is a tool for being productive, for processing stuff, for doing things. So anything less than 2 minutes goes out of the bucket. Now you can also delegate it. So if someone needs to do something, you can defer it. And if an item does not require action, you either file it for reference, throw it away, incubate it for possible action later. So, there's again in bold I wrote here, if it takes under 2 minutes to do something, it should be done immediately. Under 2 minutes, you can get rid of it really fast. So jumping back, knowing this information, jumping back here, pick up dinner for wife and me, or that's obviously going to take some time, but it's something I can do along the way, if I'm about to leave work. So what you can do is you can swipe the item, and what you will get is a bunch of quick, the quick links. So you can tag this stuff. You can either delete it, because if it took under 2 minutes, you can either close this, right? But getting food is actually a next action. It's what I'm going to be doing next. It's something I will do today or even tomorrow. I'm not waiting for anyone. So I'll click on next action. Bang. Okay, that's processed. And you'll see where that went to. You'll see the button at the bottom. the count's changed to 4. There's 4 more things to process. Now let's have a look at a more detailed way of processing. So instead of swiping, because the idea behind swiping is if you know your time point, you just want to quickly throw some things into the most common buckets, you would swipe it. But things like Super 8, you know, I mean, this is a movie I want to watch, so I just click on it and I get more detail. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this into a bucket that I created earlier called movies. So I'll click on the bucket and movies to watch. There it is. So click on that. Has it got a due date? I mean, there's no due date for that. However, you can put a due date against all of your stuff that you've collected. We'll talk about that later. And is this important? Well, yeah, let's mark it important. Now, you know what? It's not that important. It's just a movie I'm going to be watching. So I'll apply. Now let's quickly do the rest. E3 visa, bucket, blog, apply, title taxation. Now, title taxation. This one is important. It's. I really want to write about taxation in the USA. And again, this one is a blog. Apply. Create an iPhone app. That one would go for business ideas. Yep, that's definitely a cool business idea. Let's say that. Yeah, this one we'll add another one later with due date. Now, I've just processed everything, and I'm back at the page that we started off with to start collecting more stuff. Now, this will become a habit over time, and you need to be very comfortable with collecting and processing. All right. Now, say I'm walking home, and I remember that there was something to do. Now, instead of trying to think back, what was it? Trying to really strain my mind. All I got to do is just go to my buckets. As I clicked here, and I go next action. Oh, okay. Well, I've got one item I got to do. So I click on next action. Pick up dinner for wife and me. Get fed. Great. That's fine. Easy done. So I pick up the dinner along the way home, and I go, you know what? This is done now. So. Let's just jump back here. So now that it's done, I don't need to store this anymore. Remember, the idea is to collect, process, do something with it, and then get rid of it. It's a bit. Think about your house. Imagine if you stored everything that you ever came across or collected. It just wouldn't make sense, right? And that's the same thing with the GTD approach. You don't want to be a hoarder. You want to just process and get things out of your mind. You want to be very active about everything. So I've picked up the dinner with wife. It's all good. I clicked on. Did you see that here? There's a bucket. There's a button, a trash button, which I can click on, and then it lights up the typical delete icon. So I click on that. Click on delete. Bang. That is gone for good. Click back to the buckets. As you can see, there's no more next actions waiting for me. Now, under projects, you see this free indicates that there are actually 3 projects here. And you'll see that, there's movies to watch, there's the blog, and there's the business idea. And the blog has got 2 things. So I just click on that. Oh, okay. So, out of these 2 items in my blog, you'll see that one of them is lit up it's got a red border. The red border indicates that this is an important thing that I have to do. This is actually more important than the other one. So this is how we gauge importance in these buckets, by highlighting the note in red. And again, that comes back to when you were processing. If you remember, I actually marked that note as being very important. So I will attend to the most important ones first. And now just think about it that, you're going to have a bunch of projects, and you're going to have a bunch of things in the blog. I mean, I've got over 100 things in my blog bucket. And how do I know which ones are important? Well, the red ones always come first, and then just work top down. Right. That's basically it. Very simple. There's nothing complicated about it. Just a couple of things I want to make you aware of. You'll see there's a search. The search up here on the buckets screen actually searches right across everything. So if there was something that had to do with taxation, bang, there it is. How taxation works in the USA, and it tells you where it's located in a project blog. If I go back to say process, well, there's nothing here at the moment, but every single screen, let's just collect a couple more things. Let's just put in build a website for all my photos. Alright, let's put another one in Inception. Watch Inception because I like it. Now, let's just quickly tag these. This was build a website, business IDs, apply that, watch Inception, important, movies to watch, yes. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to mark that as it's due tomorrow because I really want to watch this one. This is a cool movie. Bang, done. Alright, what you're going to see at the bottom is this due date just lit up, right? Because something is due tomorrow. You can see one item is due tomorrow. So I'll come here. You'll see free sub. You see free sub buckets. You'll see the due today. So there's nothing due today. You'll see due tomorrow. Oh, okay. Well, watch Inception, and the stuff that's past due date. So this calendar option, every time you tag anything using calendar, it will light up here. But the actual item is stored under movies to watch. Now, the reason this is important, because tomorrow I'm going to be talking about with a group of friends about Inception. We're going to be talking about the latest theory, what's the theory behind Inception. So it's really important that I watch it. Very nerdy, I know, but you can imagine that this would be very useful for anything that is super urgent, that you need to, something that the next day or something that's upcoming requires your immediate attention. Now, let's jump back here to buckets. You'll see that movies to watch. There are 2 movies to watch. And you'll see there's also that search button up the top. Now this search button, when you go into the bucket, it only searches that bucket. So if I do Inception, there it is. I'll just watch. Oh, great keywords I'm using. Movies to watch. So let's just common keyword. Let's see. Let's grab one. Taxation. Let's see if taxation shows. Nothing, and that's because I am in the movies to watch, so taxation doesn't show up. If I want to search for everything, I'd go to the master buckets screen and then I'll type in taxation. Bang, there it is, right? So just note how the search works, that the search on the buckets page works right across with the buckets, but once you go into a bucket, the search within that bucket just works within the bucket. Very important note. And that's it. If you've got any questions, shoot us an email, ask@gtdfaster.com. We'll address it straight away. Any suggestions that you have, again, ask@gtdfaster.com. And I hope you have a good time, using this application. It's designed to make you more productive and be able to manage a lot of the stresses and the things that you got to do in everyday life. The idea is, to help you get things done faster. So thank you for watching, and if you watched the whole video and listening to me now, wow, that's a good achievement. So thanks again, and thanks for trialing the app, and again, all feedback very much welcomed, and have a great day.